So hey Davona, how are you?
Hey Marty, it's good to actually I'm doing well, and it's good to actually now sit and we actually have a talk and conversation. Like this is gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be so fun. Yeah, I'm loving your hat wrap you're wearing today. You're always
Thank
wearing
you.
some nice hat wraps.
This is called, thank you. This is called the I don't have time to do my fro today. And so I decided to put on a head wrap, you know. This is acceptable nowadays. It's like
I
no.
feel you. I was actually I had a work meeting earlier today and I of course woke up late. So luckily because we do Zoom, I was off camera doing my fro because
I
I've been
love that
rocking
you're
my
bringing out the
fro.
fro.
And
Yes.
I spent so long not showing my natural hair and now like I can't stop looking at it.
I feel
Hello?
like we're like twins. I don't I,
We do have the same hair.
I do feel like we look very similar. That's so crazy. It's hard how we
Glasses,
gravitated
bro.
towards each other in the beginning. Like,
Uh-huh. Today I'm not rocking my bandana. I don't have wraps, but I wear bandanas. So,
yeah, I don't really wear bandanas that much. I did when I was in the 90s a lot more, but now I don't. I need to get some now.
so we can really be twins.
We really could. I think we are. We are. We're twins, twin souls.
Well, I guess we should let the folks know like what we're doing and why we're doing it.
In the 2016 elections, actually, when Trump
Mm-hmm.
became president.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes. And so Erie at that point in time was actually in a lot of newspaper for a lot of negative things at that point, which we still are and we still struggle with. And so we're scratching ourselves out of that hole of negativity. And in this Our Erie series, we really want to highlight a lot more what's going on in our community, but not just in our community, what's going on in community as a whole of the entire United States. And so we're here today because we want to use our platform to really honestly shed light on the fact that there's so many things in Erie that are going on in our community, give a voice to people that need their voices need to be heard, and just have some solutions-based conversations.
I mean, yeah, especially right now. We're still seeing I saw a New York Times article, I think last week or a few weeks ago, where they were talking about how the election is going to go, and they interviewed all the same old typical people you would
Mhm.
expect. And it's like, even 4 years removed, we're still having this light shed upon us as like this post-industrial town that's struggling, and we're all going to vote red. And I don't know. I guess that's why I'm so excited to be here with you and Lydia to like shed light on like our experiences and talk to people in the community who look different from those people that the news always likes to come and highlight.
I think we should then talk about how we all connected and how we met because we met through politics.
For sure.
I will start with myself, introducing myself. My name is Davona Pacley. I am born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania, connected with Marty and Lydia on the campaign trail running for city council in 2019. Before that, I was working in behavioral and mental health as a behavioral counselor for Sarah Reed Children's Center. And at that point in time, I was really fired up at work about just some certain I would say some things that really just didn't sit well with me as a person who was working on the front line as a behavioral counselor. And so, speaking my mind, speaking my voice, apparently somebody heard that and inboxed me and said, "Okay, how can we like the way that you speak. You're advocating for people. Would you run for city council?" And so really had to think about that. I was like, what? I'm not even a politician. I'm just the person who's here trying to make some change for people. And at that point in time, I met Marty through Erie County United. And Marty is not from Erie, but she is fired up about Erie and wants to see change. And really, that was really, for me, super inspiring because at that point in time, I had been discouraged about the things that were going on in Erie. And finding somebody that was passionate about making some change and seeing that they were actually creating change here, that really made me, inspired. And I connected with her through Erie County United. And then that's how I met lovely Lydia. And Lydia, I met Lydia at the Democratic headquarters at the time. Lydia, I think were you were the vice president.
Who knows? Yeah, we were all part of Young Dems.
Yeah.
Right.
Erie County Young Dems. And that's how, so we all connected just basically off just the strength of just being in the same spaces.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I were running at the same time too.
Yeah,
I was
we
running for
were.
Washington Township Council and you were running for city council. And so I'm sure we commiserated over that process.
Yes, which has been a long process. But yes, we're here. And now, you know, I'm excited. Do you want to introduce yourself, Marty?
I'm Marty. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Nigeria, came here when I was 1 year old. There isn't a big Nigerian community in Pittsburgh, not like Houston, but I feel like I had a balanced upbringing of like the culture from Nigeria and, you know, being American. But I went to Edinburgh. That's what actually brought me up here to Erie. And my experience there was okay, I guess. My first 2 years, you know, sophomore, freshman year, you love it. But come junior and senior year, I got bored and was ready to leave. I worked for a little bit when I graduated down in Pittsburgh, but in 2016, I got a job that brought me back up to Erie. They figured as an Edinburgh grad, I would somehow just know the ins and out of Erie. So I got sent up here, which was crazy. And like Erie and Edinburgh are two different places.
Yes.
But I worked the general election from August till November and then went back home to Pittsburgh. You know, chilled out there for a few months and got the job I have currently now with Erie County United. Pittsburgh United, our parent organization, wanted to expand into counties that went from blue to red in 2016. In our area, as many may know, because most of you listening to this podcast are Erie natives, there have been different times where like there are movements like what was it, March on Wall Street 2011? What was that movement?
The 99 Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah. And I know there were protests against the war in Iraq and stuff, but there hadn't been like a sustained organizing facility here in Erie, unlike, you know, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, which have like a lot of organizations working with people and residents to make sure that they're politically involved. So in 2017, yes, I think 2017, they were expanding up to Erie. And again, because I had worked here for 3 months or 4 months, they thought, okay, you know Erie. So they sent me back up here. And that's how I landed back up here. And I say I never planned to come back to Erie County. Erie County wanted me. And I mean, it makes sense. I love it now. I'm a little obsessed, but I'm also obsessed with like Pennsylvania and wanting us to like do better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of motivated by jealousy of other places.
Yeah.
It's like I know California has its own issues, but
Yes.
like they have better policies for sustainability and environmental protections, better workplace policies when it comes to like protecting Black women with hair, like just little things everywhere where legislation's better and like helps people. And Pennsylvania is so backwards, let alone our little corner of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to be here to see the change and continue working on it and meeting people like yourself and Lydia and like having those conversations and growing together and continuing to run into more people who want to make the change, because I feel like the area is going to change, and these people who want to keep us in the same place forever, their time was coming to an end. So I'm happy that we're building that future together.
Well, I'm happy that you listened and decided to stay in Erie. Like that's pretty divine, because I think, you know, you're like Erie needed, you know, I think Erie needs you, and Erie needs people who are passionate and want to see change. And you don't have to necessarily be from Erie. I like that, you know, a lot of people that want to come in that are transplants are like, listen, this is, and it's interesting because I like, honestly, I like to hear the perspective of transplants and people who are coming here who are not from Erie, because it gives you an outside look and it gives you an opinion. And it gives you kind of like a different, I guess, perspective of what needs to change in the city, or what is that you do like about this city, or whatever. And I think that it gives different insight, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think there is beauty in, you know, transplants coming and working with us and figuring out how we can collectively come together to make some change. And I think you need that.
But
We really
also
need
people
that.
like yourself who come back or like thought about leaving, like what made you stay here? There's a lot of people who grow up here and they're like, I'm gonna get out here the first opportunity I can.
Yeah, and that was me. I will say I've always had the passion to want to help people and serve. I did not think I was going to be in Erie at this point in time at 32. I thought I don't know where I thought I was actually going to be. You know, when I graduated from college in 2012, I was like in the talks with my aunt about going to Virginia, you know, and things fell through and you know, and I think that was for a reason. But to keep my passion here, honestly, it was just getting myself out of my comfort zone and going to see what was going on in Erie and really taking the time to like really look and experience things and really also have some gratitude about the place that I lived here, you know, but there's also some discrepancies that I always saw talking to my dad, especially like my dad really loves Erie. He is born and raised here, you know, went to Strong Vincent High School, graduated, and really my dad really made himself really like he's inspiring to me because he really created a space for himself to really make some change. Like he does crossover basketball here, he does basketball, but he also is a caseworker for the Erie School District. And so like just seeing him and seeing how passionate he is to help young people, and he's always been like that. Both my parents, they were youth pastors, so I think I just get a lot of that fire from them. And also being a person who's from here, wanting to see some change, I think, you know, it just kind of was like it was needed. But I didn't realize I was going to stay here. I really did not. I thought I was going to be elsewhere, but God had a different plan. And I think really listening to that and really finding my tribe, you know, finding people that really had the same thought process, the same perspectives as me, as such as yourself and Lydia, honestly, it really made me feel fulfilled. And I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, I mean, but I think not everybody has that same experience. And that makes me sad because I really want, you know, people to experience Erie in a different light.
For sure.
So there's still some great issues though that we have. And I think, you know, COVID honestly has really to me, I feel like put a highlight over what the issues are. So we can't be naive to that anymore.
I mean, and that's what we're going to be doing in this podcast is like talking routinely about some of the things we experience as individuals or working with the groups we do and bringing on guests who have different perspectives than us, you know, and really diving into like what makes Erie Erie and what has made Erie Erie. I mean, I hope in the future we'll have some guests who are a little older and can tell us like what did it used to look like and like what's the differences now.
Yes. I think there's beauty in wisdom, and there's beauty in well, my grandmother would say that not every person who's old is wise, and I mean she's actually right, because I've met kids that are 4 and 5 that are super wise, and you're just like, whoa, like I can learn a lot from you. So I think, you know, you're right though. I'm interested to know people who actually have, you know, been here for a while and who have seen things. I'm interested to know the perspective, and I'm okay with talking about the issues, but I think also too we're going to be talking about some solutions and some things that we even feel, you know, some fresh ideas, some things that we're like, okay, but they could change. People can think about it this way in this perspective, and so I'm interested and excited that we have this platform to be able to like talk about things that we wouldn't be able to normally talk about if we were just like, you know. I think this is going to be interesting.
For sure. I mean, that's what kind of inspired the Our Erie, you know, page and videos, wanting to communicate out to the world, like how we're different and what makes us who we are. They made that video a few years ago with some 20 writers and filmmakers, and Epic Web Studios was involved, Jefferson was involved, and, you know, a lot of people were involved in like wanting to highlight that all these images we kept seeing after 2016 of Erie looking decrepit and Erie being, you know, some kind of right-wing haven that's not who we are.
No. And I think we're even who we are. Right. And, you know, we're even seeing, and even in the arts aspect, like I'm so excited to see, you know, a lot of people are like, well, what does public art have to do with anything? Why do murals need to go up? And it's like, actually, if you go to a lot of other cities, public art is a big thing. Like
everywhere.
Yes, it makes the city vibrant. It makes the city look great. And it doesn't look all dank and just dark. And so I'm really inspired by the arts in the last couple years. You know, maybe that's just me. I'll say in the last couple years.
No.
Right.
What's your favorite piece? Like, I'll tell you my favorite piece. I already, because when you started talking, like, I have to tell you about my favorite piece.
What's your favorite piece? I'm excited.
I live really close to it. It's the Methodist Towers, and I've forgotten the man's name, but he's
yes.
His face. Anytime I'm walking my dog, he's just there smiling at me. I love it. It's such a good way to start the day, good way to end the night. He's just there always.
It's beautiful. And actually shout out to Erie Arts and Culture, because they're the ones that funded that mural. They're super, super active in the community of public arts. And shout out to Patrick Fisher and Erie Arts and Culture for helping us fund this podcast this first time around. So yes, just let y'all know the funding was provided by Erie Arts and Culture. So shout out to them.
Well, Lydia is back.
Yes.
I think we should have Lydia talk a little bit about herself and like her perspective.
Sure. Yeah, so I am a social worker by trade, but I first got introduced, I think Marty was the first person I met of this like team of gals. And Marty and I got introduced to each other while my sister and I were organizing a Defend DACA protest or rally that my sister had just come back to Erie, I think after graduating from college, and I was back in the area, and Trump had just gotten elected, and they were, threatening to rescind DACA, and we couldn't find anyone that was like leading the charge on rallying around that issue. And we have family and friends that were DACA recipients, and so it was an issue close to our heart. And when we realized that no one was really taking the lead on it, we were like, well, we're not like a formal organization, we're not community organizers, but like this conversation is too important to not let it happen. So we organized it, and we're so blessed to like immediately have several different organizations in the area come to our aid and help inform our action. And so Marty was one of those people with Erie County United that she came in and like immediately was supportive and helped, connect me to other people and get really plugged into the political scene here in Erie that I had never really participated in until Trump. I think that's the case with a lot of people, is like Trump really ignited in them this passion or even like defensiveness of like, oh shit, that like progress wasn't just naturally happening organically on its own without the pressures of other people and without community organizing. And I think that's what it took for me to realize that progress had to be pushed. It couldn't just like happen on its own. And so through Marty, I got connected to Young Dems. I got connected to like all the political things and community organizations in Erie that I've, become close to through Marty. And then Young Dems was how I met Davona. And yeah, the rest is history, as they say. But my background as a social worker, I've worked as a trauma therapist with children and adolescents in a school-based therapy when they've experienced a trauma of any kind. And I also worked with men convicted of sexual offenses after they were released from jail or prison. So I really saw in like intimate detail the issues within our education system, within our criminal justice system, within the way that we're teaching young children about their feelings or their sexual orientations or their emotional or behavioral reactions to trauma. And so that was how I became more acutely aware of the systemic issues going on, even on a local level, that could be contributing to the problem, and knew that I had to make some changes. So here we are, doing every little bit we can. I mean, I feel like all three of us are so involved in like 1,000 different things, are so passionate about every issue. It can almost become exhausting.
Yeah.
But we do what we can, like creating this space to, give people a platform to talk about issues and to really dive deeper into some of these really complicated systemic problems that our community faces.